So here's a question for you. How do we really know if an effort to do good in the world is actually working? I mean, it sounds simple, but the answer is surprisingly tricky. Good intentions are great, but how do you measure real, actual change? Well, let's get into it.
To really get what we're talking about, I want to start with a story. Just listen to this quote from a school committee chair in Zambia. It points to this massive shift. You see, before a project called Voice and Accountability, parents felt totally powerless. But afterward, they had the tools, the knowledge to get involved in their kids' education. And this isn't just some small tweak. This is a community completely transforming its role.
And this transformation, it wasn't just a feeling. You can see it right here in the data. The positive outcomes from this project didn't just happen all at once. They totally snowballed. I mean, look at this. Only about 13% of the total positive changes happened in the first year. But by the last year, that jumped to a staggering 48%. The impact was actually speeding up, building on itself and creating more and more good stuff as it went along.
So what exactly was this project? Well, the Voice and Accountability Project, or VNA for short, had a really clear mission. Give local committees, the parents, the teachers, the community leaders, the power to monitor how their schools were being run. And not just that, but to actually engage with authorities and demand things get better. Simple idea, right? But it had some profound results.
Okay, now this is where it gets super interesting. The project totally hit its main goals, things you'd expect like higher enrollment and more transparency with the school budget. But check out the column on the right. It also created these incredible, totally unplanned ripple effects. A drop in teenage pregnancies because more girls were staying in school. Community members just starting their own meetings without any help from the project. They even started using their new skills to lobby other donors for more resources. These were amazing changes that, honestly, nobody saw coming.
And that, right there, brings us to the big puzzle. If some of the most powerful impacts of a project are things you never even planned for, how on earth do you measure them? How do you capture that kind of lightning in a bottle?
Well, it turns out there's a pretty cool technique for doing exactly that. It's a method that's specifically designed to find and make sense of all these surprising changes that just kind of emerge.
It's called outcome harvesting. And unlike a lot of traditional methods where you're just checking boxes against a list of goals you made at the start, outcome harvesting is more like detective work. You start by finding solid evidence of what actually changed. Those are your outcomes. And then you work backward to piece together what role the project played in making it all happen.
The whole process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you get on the ground and talk to people to figure out what significant changes they've seen. Step 2, you dig in and analyze how specific things the project did might have led to those changes. And then, Step 3, and this part is absolutely crucial, you check your work. You verify everything with people who were involved but not part of the project team, just to make sure the story you've uncovered is the real deal.
So, using this method, the VNA project was able to figure out exactly which of their activities were the most powerful. It turns out things like those community meetings and the scorecard assessments were huge drivers of change. I mean, this kind of data is pure gold for figuring out what really works.
And check this out. This, for me, is the real kicker. When community members were asked if all these good things would have happened anyway without the project, a massive 91% of them said no way. They pointed directly to the project's work. That tells you this project wasn't just a nice little bonus, it was absolutely essential.
So we've seen how outcome harvesting can uncover all this hidden impact, which is amazing. But it's not the only tool out there. It's actually part of a whole toolkit that organizations can use to really understand the difference they're making.
Let's do a real quick tour of what's in that toolkit. You've got something called Social Return on Investment, or SROI, which is wild. It actually puts a financial number on social benefits. Then there are strategic frameworks like the Simple Approach, which helps weave impact measurement right into an organization's DNA. For something a bit more hands-on, there's the Social Impact Canvas. And if you want to go really deep, there are huge resources like the Rainbow Framework for designing top-notch evaluations. The point is, there are a ton of ways to do this.
But, measuring impact is really only half the battle. The other half is actually creating it in the first place. A tool can tell you what happened, but it doesn't always explain how that change became so durable. So where does that lasting, sustainable change really come from?
Well, it turns out that the foundation of real change, the kind we saw in Zambia, isn't just about big projects coming in from the outside. It's about building up the strength of the local grassroots groups that are already right there in the community.
So why are they so important? Well, think about it. These are the groups that are the social safety nets. They're the ones connecting people to resources, building up a community's confidence and stability, and so importantly, making sure the voices of the most marginalized people actually get heard. Those school accountability committees in Zambia, a perfect example. They are the engine of change from the ground up.
And helping these organizations get stronger isn't just guesswork. There are actual systematic frameworks, like the one you see here, to guide the whole process. It's basically a two-stage approach. First, in the design phase, it's all about understanding the local situation and what the community really needs. Then you move into implementation, where the focus shifts to actively building up and monitoring the strength of these organizations. It's a real roadmap for helping them succeed. The whole point of all this is to build what we call an organization's maturity and capacity. You can think of it like helping a tiny sapling grow into a strong, resilient tree. Through a cycle of analysis, development, and monitoring, we can help them put down deep roots. That way, they're able to keep creating an impact long after a specific project is wrapped up. Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. Why does all this talk about measurement and grassroots organizations matter so much? What's the big takeaway here?
It matters for literally everyone involved. For donors, it's the proof that their money is actually creating real evidence-based change. For the organizations doing the work, it's an incredible learning tool that helps them get better and smarter. And, most importantly, for the communities themselves, it guarantees that the projects are really, truly meeting their needs. So, let's just hammer home the crucial points. Number 1, measuring social impact is tough, for sure, but it's absolutely essential. 2, cool, innovative methods like outcome harvesting can uncover those surprising results that tell the real story. 3, lasting change is almost always built on the foundation of strong local organizations. And 4, maybe the biggest one of all, good intentions just aren't enough. We need good evidence.
So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. The next time you think about supporting a cause or a charity, go one level deeper. Don't just ask them, "What are you doing?" Ask the much more powerful question, "How do you know it's working?"